What's up, everybody? Today on TK Driven, we're going to change the oil on a 2006 GSXR-750. Welcome back, everybody. So the first thing you want to do, if you don't have one of these guys, you don't have to have it, but I would highly recommend it. It's a handy brand. I'm sure there's many brands, but it lifts your bike up off the ground. I've got one for the front also, but I'm only using the rear for this job. And it steadies things up, keeps things from trying to tip over, and gives you much more access underneath. Something else it also does is make your bike perfectly level. So when you're changing the oil, you can look at the window, the oil window, and make sure that you've got the right amount in there once we're done. So the first thing we're going to do, we got to remove this side fairing. I guess you wouldn't absolutely have to if you wanted to tear up your wrist and stuff, but it's easier just to remove this fairing and get to the oil filter. So let's do that. All right, to get this fairing off, we got an Allen key bolt here, 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 and actually up under here is a plastic tab. Mine has broken off, so I will need to get some of these. I've gotten some of these before at Ace Hardware locally, so maybe they'll have something similar. And your last one is this guy down here, and for whatever reason he's a 5mm. So you got 3 4mm and 1 5mm and a plastic tab. So let's pull this thing off here and see. 4mm. And this guy is a 5. Right back in here, there's a piece that pushes into the frame. It's just a rubber thing that catches. You should be able to grab right here and pull that out without undoing anything as far as bolts go. There's a couple ears up top here. Try not to snap anything like that off. And that brings them free. There is a connection at the bottom. I've never found necessary to completely remove it. I just let this guy gently fold down like this. It probably puts a little bit of stress there, but that's how I do it. All right, with that fairing pulled down gently, right there is your oil filter, right past the headers. So if your bike is hot, you will burn the crap out of yourself. I'd recommend it not be really hot when you're doing this. All right, your drain plug is right here next to where you just took that fairing down. At the base of this assembly here, this guy right here, that's a 17mm. So you can open that guy up, make sure you got a pan under there, obviously. And a good rule of thumb on any engine to drain the oil is to open the fill cap so that there's no suction holding any of the oil back. And yes, I did break that loose off the camera, just in case, you know, didn't want you making fun of my guns or anything. There comes your engine oil. So this guy has a crush washer. You want to make sure that it stays on the bolt and that there's nothing wrong with it, it's not damaged or anything. This one looks fine. I'll just set him back in the pan for now. And now I'm going to get a rag and some channel locks and open the fill cap like we talked about just a second ago. All right, I usually just fold a rag over a couple times here. Keep from scratching this cap in case it's real tight. These, I inherited these from my grandfather. I had never seen these before. They're robo-grip channel locks. So instead of having the channels that you have to adjust yourself, it just grabs automatically. I assume they're still made. It looks like they were made by craftsmen. Who knows how old they are? My grandpa passed away in 2005. These are amazing. Set that aside. Let's let the oil drain a minute and start getting that filter off. Oil filters are just about like anything else in life, I've noticed. People got very strong opinions about it. So here's the deal. I've used Fram since I started changing my own oil at like 16, I suppose. It was cheaper at the time. It's still cheaper, but I bought it because it was cheap at the time. But anyway, I have never had any problems. That doesn't mean I won't ever. And you guys can have a lot of different opinions, and I'm okay with that. But they haven't failed on me yet, so I just continue to buy them. And secondary reason today, this was the only 6018, which is what this GSXR-750 takes at Walmart today. So take it with a grain of salt. I got the extra guard. We're going to put him on. That's what was on before. Zero problems out of it. So that's what we're going with again. All right, the filter is right back here like we talked about, right behind the headers. Now, I did not break this one loose before I started filming, so you guys can laugh at me as I attempt to break it loose here. I'm going to try nothing but my bare hands first. Hey, I can get 2 full hands on this. This is a lot better than some cars I've worked on. It's turning. And you're going to have a little bit of drips usually once you break a filter loose, so move your pan a little bit under there. Check that out. Look, Ma, bare hands. So on a new oil filter, you take a little bit of new oil, which I didn't grab, stand by. So I picked up some Valvoline full synthetic 20W50 4-stroke motor oil here. Valvoline is a Lexington company, and I'm in Richmond, Kentucky, so it's pretty cool to have them close by. It was just barely cheaper than Mobil 1. Valvoline is usually pretty good stuff, so got 3 quarts of that. Supposedly this bike will take 2.6-ish. It's best just to put in, to say 2.5, and then start checking your visual window over there. So, like we were saying a minute ago, I got the new filter here, and you want to take a little bit of your oil, get it on your finger, and just rub it around this new seal here. This helps it seat, keeps any leaks from happening. Spin that guy on. I assume there are torque specs for this. I have never ever used any kind of torque things on a filter. I usually just put 2 hands on it and tighten it almost as tight as I can go. And then I let go, and then I think, ooh, was that tight enough? And then I do it again. And it doesn't move, and then I think, oh, is it tight? But then I tell myself, no, it's okay. And my OCD stops for the moment. All right, make sure before you start messing with any new oil, do not forget your drain plug. You will not be happy, and neither will your wife in the garage. That guy's a 17mm. Also, something else. The location of this oil filter, it's basically impossible, anyway I've seen, to not get oil on the headers. So I usually come down here and wipe this off a little bit, just to reduce the burnt oil smell the first time you take the bike out. Alright, the next thing you do is you take this enormous funnel. You can't use a smaller one. Don't even try it. I mean, I don't think they even make anything smaller than this. Put it right there and let it hang out. It's got to hang out like 2.5 feet. Then you start adding some oil. Alright, a second ago, I told you guys that I was using 20W50. That was not my intentions. I bought 2 10W40s and 1 20W50 because I'm not very smart. So I just missed it. We'll have to go get the correct 10W40. probably wouldn't hurt anything, but I'm not going to put it in there. I do use 20W50 in the Harley, which we're going to be changing it here in a couple videos, but so I messed up. I'm going to go ahead and, so we got 1 quart of 10W40, which is normally what's recommended, not 20W50. And here's the 2nd quart of 10W40. And then we'll have to hop in something else and go back to Walmart. What's that, Captain Picard? Motorcycle hyperlapse engage? Yes, sir.
Yeah, kick the door in, I ain't playing, I ain't bluffing. I was youngin', I was dumbin', I was struggling. Got no mercy, I keep fighting, I keep punching, hitting every single bar, surprised I don't have a concussion. Please get your hands off me, y'all get way too deep. I don't mess with creeps or
I'm so disappointed. Just so disappointed. The reason that video of the hyperlapse ended so fast was the mount on the Harley was on the tank and it fell off. And I caught it. I reached down, I saw it wobbling and I reached down and actually caught it. And I think that it was filming the ground for a while. And I didn't wreck, obviously. And I pulled it back up, got it in my lap a minute, figured out where I was, making sure I wasn't about to run into nothing. And then once I got control, picked it up and looked at it and could have sworn it was still recording, but it was not. I'm so disappointed. I must have hit the power button as it fell, apparently. And it just lost it all. I couldn't wait to see the footage of that. So, I guess it's just a neat story now. Sorry about that. Anyway, okay, 10W40. Now, I can't remember the last thing I said here. I had a little bit left over from last time and put in there and it didn't fill the sight glass. Where's our enormous funnel that is absolutely necessary? Here it is. Yeah, we've got nothing in the sight glass still. Starting to see it. There it is. So we're about halfway up now, and that's where I usually like it to be. It was freaking me out because everything I've read says this takes 2.6 quarts. Well, I bought 1 quart wrong, but we didn't install that. I had 2 quarts and I had almost a full quart of some left over. So that would have been 3, right? And that's 2.6 to 3 using, if you're changing the oil filter. Well, I put 3 in, or really, really close to 3, and there was nothing in this sight glass. So I got so curious, I even went and got my front stand, like the back one I showed you, and put it up to make sure everything was perfectly level. Still nothing. So that's when I went and hyperlapsed back to Walmart and got the what will be basically the 4th quart. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that looked perfect. Cool. And man, I wish you could have seen the camera fall. It was hilarious. And I'm glad I didn't die. I'm going to start the bike, take my enormous funnel out, start the bike and let it run just for a minute or two. Put this guy on so we don't get any oil splatter or anything. And let the oil heat up and get circulated a little bit, and then we'll check this sight glass some more. I like to look at the bike with it running for a second while the oil is heating up. Just make sure that nothing's leaking while it's under pressure. Looks like I got a touch of oil on the header right there. That didn't wipe up. All right, let's hyperlapse me putting this fairing back on, and that will be the end of this project. All right, the fairing is back on. No leaks or anything down there. Last piece of advice, when you change your oil on anything, write down the mileage so you know when you did it. We got 18,670. So I've got a note running in my phone of everything with an engine in it, I guess minus the lawnmower. They don't even display hours used, but I don't really care about lawnmowers. Can't stand lawnmowers. All right. All right, the oil is changed in the GSXR-750. Just Just gonna polish my extremely important, can't have it any other way, 20-foot long funnel here. You guys have a great day.